Love between humans is just not easy. And without great examples or education about emotions, communication, sex, and what keeps love alive, it's too easy to be disheartened, settle, or give up on what you want most. I believe you can have the love and intimacy you want. And having coached thousands of people on their love lives for over 20 years, I know what love can be for you. So I'm bringing you people who share vulnerably about their dating and relationship struggles and how they learn to create the most connected, fulfilling, and exciting love and sex of their lives, so you can have it too. If you haven't yet taken the quiz to see what keeps you from having the best love and sex of your life, go to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz. You'll get a personalized report of your strengths and challenges in the 5 crucial areas that lead to your most fulfilling and exciting love and sex life. Go to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz to find out. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Practicing Love. I'm your host, Shana James, and I'm here with 2 amazing men, both therapists and actually brothers. I don't think I've ever had brothers on the show before. Hosts of the Therapy Brothers podcast, and they specialize in relationships, especially betrayal, sex addiction. And I'm really excited to ask them about why betrayals tend to happen and, really getting to the root of this, because I like to see all people as good and all decisions as, they're coming from a place of attempting to do the best we can and attempting to meet our own needs, but most of us really haven't been taught how to do that. So I'm excited to hear both of you talk about this and all of the pain and the healing that you've seen happen. So welcome, Brannon and Tyler Patrick. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Grateful to be here with you.
Thank you. So maybe one of you can start and just dive in a little bit to, how did you start specializing in betrayal? It's a pretty intense topic and one that, isn't easy to navigate.
Go ahead, Tyler.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks, Shana. I have kind of 2 stories. I won't share the big, long versions, but I'm in recovery myself from a pornography addiction and a series of other betrayals that came along with that several years ago, close to 2 decades ago. And I've been in recovery ever since. And my wife and I have been working our own recovery since then. So the very personal part of it is that, and that's kind of what led me into, wanting to help other people who are also in similar situations. And then the professional part is that I got done with graduate school and started working in the addiction world in Idaho. And then Brannon's the one who actually called me one day and was like, somebody needs to step into this arena a little bit more on helping people with infidelity and sexual addiction. And he didn't know that I was working my own recovery at the time when he called me. And I was like,
so you two hadn't been open about that.
No, he was, yeah.
It was pretty fresh when he called me. It was really, really fresh. And I hadn't really told anybody yet because I hadn't learned all the right principles of how to overcome it. And so he called me and said, hey, we need to specialize in this. And I thought, oh my gosh, yes, of course.
Divine intervention.
Let's do it. And then Brannon, of course, had his own journey here too, but.
Do you want to say a little bit about yours, Brannon?
Well, mine is kind of lame, but I feel like God wants me to be here. I studied economics in college, and I just kind of saw this wave of just porn and stuff going. The internet had just come out, and I was like, supply and demand. There's going to be a good demand for helping people deal with sex addiction, and so I looked into that, and that then leads into a lot of couples work and then working a lot with infidelity and betrayal. But it's, I fell into it because I was thinking with my business mind, but I really, as I got into it, I realized I'm supposed to be here. I'm made for this, and I love doing this work. And
that's
so
awesome.
Yeah. So I was just talking to a guy, and he was like, wait, you and your brother do the exact same type of therapy? That's weird. And I was like, yeah, but we do. So we support each other through it and help each other as we help others. So
it's amazing that you can support each other through it and then also, have each other to lean on, because it's a great example, right, of men in the world opening up and being vulnerable with each other, as opposed to stuffing it or pushing it aside, which I imagine is one of the causes of betrayal, if we want to go there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you see? Like, what do I think people would be curious about what causes betrayal in the first place.
I think before we answer that, if I could say,
okay.
It's interesting speaking to it, because if you have a partner who's been betrayed, they might listen and be like, you're just making excuses. Like, yeah, that's why, but I'm hurting.
Yes.
And so there's a dialectic to hold here between compassion for the betrayer and why they did it, and also accountability for choosing to do it and the consequences that come with that and the pain that it causes others. So
thank you for speaking to that.
Yeah. So, but as we dive into why betrayal happens, it's always quite a bit more than meets the eye. And there's several different flavors of it and reasons why it comes to be. And so I can start with one. Tyler, do you want to start with one?
Sure. Yeah, we could maybe hit 2 or 3 different kinds of flavors. Is that all right, Shayna?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That? Yeah, so the pretty prototypical one is that when people are watching the Jerry Springer show or something, they just think it's just somebody who wanted to go out and have a good time. And
right.
There is the flavor that is the case sometimes, where somebody just wants to be free but doesn't want to be honest with their partner about what's going on because they don't want the consequences that are going to come, and so they keep the secret and they go and they have their fun. That's more of the exception than the rule, though. And so that's the first one, is someone who just wants to go out, have a novel experience and have fun. But that's actually pretty rare, because there's usually other things that are layered on top of it that people don't normally talk about.
I like hearing that, and it'll be interesting as we hear the other two, that the fun is actually the exception rather than the rule. There's so much more complex than that.
Yeah, there's payouts for betrayal that are beyond just dopamine hits, and it doesn't make it okay, but it's like if I'm stuck in a marriage where I feel completely stuck and I've been there a long time, and I don't know how to look my kids in the eye and go through a divorce, and so I stay stuck. Betrayal can actually be a cry for help, a way to kind of get out without doing it the right way or the courageous way. Yeah. But it's a way to get out. So you go have an affair, and then eventually that all comes out, and then it leads to a divorce or whatever. So oftentimes it's coming from that place of just a long-standing misery in a relationship.
Yeah, and most of us don't learn to speak up for ourselves or have these vulnerable conversations. And so I have met a lot of people who felt stuck, even though from the outside we could look and say, oh, you could have this conversation or you could approach it this way, but internally they can't, they haven't gotten there, right?
Yeah, I think you're nailing it right there. And that's probably the most common thing that Brannon and I see in our work, is that oftentimes it's actually 2 really good people who haven't learned to show and be vulnerable with each other in those kinds of conversations that need to happen. And then there's a slow fade that happens where that distance builds over time. The right conversations aren't happening. The distance grows. And then someone finds themselves letting go of certain boundaries because it feels good to have the person at work showing some attention, and then eventually they end up engaging in a behavior or doing something that they themselves would say, I never thought I'd see myself here.
Right.
And yet somehow I got there. And it all started because I couldn't manage my shame in a way to be vulnerable enough with my partner to allow us to have the conversations that needed to happen a long, long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. What was the third one? Or does that seems like an overall umbrella? Was there a third specific one?
We got a few more, actually.
Okay, great.
If you want them.
We can keep going. One thing we see a lot of is the type where there is an actual addiction behind the scenes.
Yep.
And so somebody like does love their spouse. They don't really want to hurt them, but they thought when they got married that they had sex, this would all go away, but they keep secretly acting out. The tolerance for their addiction builds up. They go start doing things that they never thought they would. And so they could be sleeping with prostitutes or some type of illegal behavior or whatever until the crap hits the fan. It all comes out and it's like, what? Betrayal. And that's driven from this compulsive, addictive behavior that Tyler and I see all the time.
Yeah.
Another common one.
Let's do one more here and then we can move on. But the last one is a lot of times the secrets are the worst part of it, right? It's if you ask a betrayed partner so many times, they'll say that the dishonesty is what really, really rocked my world because that's what shattered the attachment and connection. Right. The behavior hurts, but the dishonesty shattered me. And a lot of times people find themselves in a bad situation and then they realize that if it comes to light, in their mind, it ruins everything even worse. And so maybe they're in a high profile position at church or at work or something. And if now they bring it to light, that's going to damage a whole bunch of other people's lives and relationships, their partners' relationships. Sometimes the person cheating is keeping the secret because they think they're protecting their partner, even though they find themselves kind of stuck in a pattern they can't get out of. And so it's like that deep, deep shame paired up with secrecy sometimes keeps people stuck for long periods of time on what was maybe just a simple mistake to begin with.
Interesting. And I imagine for those who've been betrayed, I would never imagine seeing that as a simple mistake.
Yeah, I should be careful even using that language, right? Because again, to go along with what Brannon said right at the beginning here, we're almost skipping over the top of where we start with a couple usually. Okay. We'll usually start with a couple like just normalizing the experience of the betrayed partner because their world is completely shattered. It feels like they've been thrown in the washing machine and churned all around and they can't hardly breathe and they're looking to find up from down. And then oftentimes they have a partner who's trying to make them better faster for the partner's sake who's done the cheating.
Right.
And there's all that pressure and everything else. And so, we're kind of skipping over that, but definitely want to acknowledge that that's obviously the case.
Yeah.
There's also different types of betrayal according to discovery. So like sometimes a partner, when they find out, they're like, well, no duh. Like, of course.
Finally, I knew that.
Finally, I know. Like, yeah. Sometimes their world is completely shattered and they're caught off guard. And so like the types of betrayal are even different according to how it goes down.
How it's discovered, how it's found out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow. Okay. So again, so complex. And what do you feel like people should know, right? I mean, people who are, I imagine people listening, some have been betrayed in the past, and so they're trying to make more sense of it. Some are afraid it could happen in the future. Some are just curious, right? But for those who have a more vested interest, I would say, in either understanding their past or making sure that it doesn't happen again, right? Where would you dive in there?
We work a process with couples that we call the healing journey, and it's actually kind of built on a couple of principles. And the first thing is just getting grounded again. So it's really simple kind of triage work at the beginning where learning some skills to ground,
safety.
Get mindful, create safety, emotional and physical safety for yourself so that you're not in that trauma response all of the time.
Yeah.
When you're flooded, it's just hard to make decisions. So we start there. And then once we have a few tools put in place, building a good team, having a few good team members to rely on and help provide structure and support and empathy, some grounding tools, some emotional regulation tools, then we start actually encouraging both partners to look into themselves and start to say, not whose fault is it, but what is going on inside of me that is out of rhythm with who I'm supposed to be.
Ooh. That's a beautiful question. What is happening inside of me that is out of rhythm with who I'm supposed to be?
Right. Because we want to bring a sense of groundedness and peace to both people, because the only way a future like relationship can work is when two people know their own authenticity and can bring it back to each other and offer it again.
Yeah.
And so even though it's not the person's fault who got cheated on, it is changing them by having to experience this.
Yeah.
And they probably find themselves with questions and doubts and maybe even doing things that they never thought they'd do, like attacking their partner or hating somebody or whatever else. And a lot of times they got to do that internal work to get realigned with their values, and then really start to look at like where shame has unraveled their connection in the first place.
Yeah.
One, I was going to say, one of the common misnomers is that when betrayal happens, and it's an obvious misnomer, when betrayal happens, we think this is an issue that we need to fix in our relationship. And the reality is the relationship issue is the pain point. It's the symptom of the actual problem. And so what we'll do in our process is the couple wants to come in and like fix this relationship, solve this. And so I'll help them set up some logistics to create all the things Tyler just said, space for grounding, safety. But we're not going to dive deep into that couple's work first, because the two ingredients to the relationship aren't working. So we're going to go do that deeper individual work and then bring the couple together as time progresses. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because they want to just fix the relationship because I'm in pain. But the real work is that long-term individual trauma healing work.
Yeah. I mean, that makes so much sense, right? You can't sit down in a room with two people who don't know themselves and don't understand their wounds and their traumas and try to then bring two people closer to each other. I mean, I laugh, but it's not funny, but it's right. It's like
show up with secure attachment. Like here you go. It's like, what? I don't even know what that means.
Yes.
Or how to actually do that.
Yeah. I mean, such a tender time. And I can totally imagine people coming in and being like, we just want to fix this. We just want to make it better. We just want to move on.
Mm-hmm. One of the challenges with that is they want to reestablish trust and know that everything's okay. Yeah. Right. And the challenge is that establishing trust, one of the ingredients of the formula that we talk about is time.
It's time.
You know, right? There's time that goes into rebuilding trust. And so you can't come into a therapist's office right after it's fresh and be like, let's hurry and rebuild trust and forgive each other and move on. It's like, no, like there needs to be a series of different kinds of principles in play here over time. Right. And that's why we can't rush this, because trust doesn't rush itself. It needs that time and that effort and some work underneath both bridges, you know, in order to have that foundation.
It's so true. I mean, that's what I often talk to my clients about too, when there's some kind of rebuilding of trust, whether it's with themselves or whether it's with somebody else. You know, it's like, oh, you could know what will rebuild trust, but until you're living those experiences and having these almost trials, I don't want to say that they're tests, but it's like they're experiments or they're practices, and then you get to see how does that go. But if it goes well, the trust gets rebuilt. If it doesn't go well, right, it doesn't exactly move itself forward.
Exactly. But it's a process.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you help people endure, I mean, what to me feels like uncertainty, right? I would imagine some people don't even know, are we going to be able to rebuild trust? Are we going to find our way back to each other? And that is so uncomfortable.
It's so excruciatingly painful because we want certainty as human beings. Like we live our whole lives trying to create certainty only to have it pulled out from underneath us and realize we need to go try to create it somewhere else. And so oftentimes what I'll do with my clients when they come in is I'll try to actually move them from a place of needing to decide something into a space of let's put a few things in place first, and let's go into a place of discernment, and let's get some grounding. Let's get your head and heart reconnected, because that's where that sense will come in of, I know what I need to do next. And until that happens, they'll always doubt the decision they make anyway.
Oh, that's gold too, right? Mm-hmm. It's like if you're trying to rush your decisions or you're making them just from your head and not with your heart and your body also, and then you would doubt them. I mean, that is more misery, ongoing misery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We oftentimes call what we're talking about right now the messy middle. And it's, coming back to what Tyler was saying here is like, we feel like it's our job to lay out a map, a guide, and then we load people full of two things. One is education about what recovery actually is, what trust actually feels like, what is healthy attachment, how do you have healthy boundaries? I could go down the list, right?
Great.
So education, and then an ongoing, our program goes for over a year. But in that program, there's that educational piece, but there's also this like increase of support around the individuals, so that they feel like, look, I'm being held through this process. It's a messy middle. I don't know where I'm going to land. This is very uncomfortable, but I have the guide and I have the support.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to stay the course.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine anything that would, or I can't imagine that it's excruciating to happen and then to do that, to be in it alone. Right. So I'm so glad you bring people together and create this team. And then there's other people going through similar things so that if they need to, if they're going through a moment, they actually have someone who can understand them, as opposed to someone who means well, but they can't really get what it's like.
They don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so common for couples on both sides, either the unfaithful or the betrayed side, to feel like they have to keep it a secret because it's something that feels shameful on both sides.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it's, when I was a little kid, I lived in the same basement as Brannon, but down the hallway. And I swear there was a purple octopus that lived in the utility room.
Oh, I haven't heard this one.
Yeah.
Really? You haven't?
I thought it was a scary guy named Bert.
Oh.
No, you had Bert. I had a purple octopus, and it would make all those noises, and I never saw it. I could only hear it.
Was in there.
And it only operated in the dark. And so I'd flip off the bathroom light, run down the hallway in the dark, and dive into my bed right before the octopus grabbed me every single time. Right? And the truth is that if I flipped on the light, the octopus could never be seen. It would shrink back into the corner. And in a lot of ways, that's what people who are fresh into this, they need the right places to not be in the dark.
Yeah.
They need to shine some light on it, but maybe not to everybody. There's certain family members that probably aren't going to be the best people to share with. But there are going to be some people that can hold your story. They're willing to learn about what you're going through with you. And when you have that structure, it's like a scaffolding that holds you when you're in your weak moments and you're trying to figure out, do I stay or do I go? Or what's my next set of boundaries? Or what's my next choice? And you have trusted people who are willing to learn and support you. That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so we're in the messy middle. I think there's also a part of me that wants to go back. So you tell me if this feels too disjointed.
Okay.
It's like going back to someone who's wondering, well, could this be happening in my relationship, or could it happen in a future relationship? What are some signs that people who've had this happen, looking back, they realize, I could have known. Mm-hmm. Does that feel too disjointed to go back?
No, that's great. That's a great question. And we can hit several bullet points on that too, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Brannon, do you want to take the first one?
Sure. You'll feel a breakdown in attachment with your partner. And what that means is either they'll be stonewalling you and disconnected, or they'll be overly trying to attach and acting a certain way. And because they got a secret behind the scenes going on, they don't want you to actually truly know them. So they're shame screening on a whole new level. And you'll feel that disconnect. So, and that happens in relationships where there's not infidelity or betrayal going on. Yeah. But that pretty much always happens when there is. So that's one thing to look for. Tyler, do you want to give another one? Let's just go back and forth here for a minute, because there's several of these.
Okay.
And I'll just give the caveat to what Brannon said, that when you're listening to this list of bullet points, if you have one or two of these things in your relationship, it does not necessarily mean it's a massive problem. It's when the red flags all start to stack up that you start to see, maybe get more serious about finding out. So another thing that you'll notice is I call them secondary character flaws that get developed in the person who's keeping the secret. And so they have to develop other ways to tolerate looking themselves in the mirror and keeping the secret at the same time. And so you'll start to notice them being a little bit dishonest in other places. You know, they don't tell the full truth in a story that they're telling at a family dinner, or they do a little bit of a dishonest thing in a business dealing, even though it's not that big of a deal. And the dishonesty becomes sort of a way of life, and it oozes out in other parts of living. And so you'll start to see dishonesty or blaming or victim stance. These are kind of character defects to not have to take accountability.
Got it.
Yep. Going right along with that one, you'll see loose energetic boundaries around sexuality. So just kind of flirting with that neighbor for a little too long, connecting with the coworker, texting about the married coworker a little bit. You know how it feels. There's doors that are open, like, hey, this is open and I'm available. Yeah. So they don't have those internal boundaries on a sexual level, or a connecting level with other people. You'll notice that in your partner, and you'll try to deny it and be like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm just being overly whatever, jealous or whatever, but you'll start to notice some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that some people will experience is they will they'll feel like they're crazy, because every time they start to get close to what might be a hot spot in the relationship, maybe I come home from work today and my wife walks in the door from her job and she's like, hey, Tyler, how was your day today? And I want to hurry and say, my day was great. I did this, and this. How was your day? Because I don't want her to ask me what I did from the hour of 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And so there's quick distraction a lot of times onto other places, even sometimes self-incriminating places, because they're safer there. Like, we've agreed not to eat out this month, and now I ate at Chick-fil-A today. I'll tell myself here so that I can kind of alleviate whatever her suspicions are, but I'm doing it to protect having to expose all these other things.
There's gaslighting and crazy making going on. And this is why betrayal trauma is complex, multidimensional trauma. Yeah. That's why we call it that, because the partner's like, oh, I'm not just hurting because I got cheated on. Like, I feel effing nuts, right? Like, what?
That sense, I would imagine, of losing trust with oneself. Like, right? Okay.
Right. Well, my gut, my intuition is off. Like, I just can't, like, what is real? I have one last one, then we can move on. And we could go on and on, and this is a really practical one, but usually a person who's cheating gets really weird about their phone.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when their partner touches their phone, you can like feel the tension in the room. So, whoa, what's going on?
Are
encapsulated
there.
Our phones know us better than we know ourselves. And so it's like when a partner's holding that thing that knows all about everything, please don't click on that. Please, I think I've hidden that well. And even if you've hidden everything well, you can still feel that energy around the phone.
Well, especially these days, you never know what's going to pop up. I mean, we're being tracked.
Right.
Talk about something and suddenly there's an ad for it. It's like, whew, that's scary.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are some signs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my curiosity next goes into, what someone should do. What could happen, right? If you suspect that this is happening, how do you have people address it? But if there's anything else that feels more important, or a place you want to go, feel free to go there.
You mean like they're just in the state of suspecting it, but they don't know.
Wondering, this could be happening. Is something happening? How do you talk about it in a way that could help someone actually reveal versus, defend or shut down or pull away or things like that?
Yeah, this is really tricky according to what information you have. Because if you have certain information, you can come at this a bit stronger. And if you don't have certain information, then you have to come to it from a place of like, something doesn't feel right. Like something's off. But if you have some type of evidence, what I would say is don't come straight at them. You come softly with, look, I know something, and I'm going to give you a chance to tell me what it is. And the reason is because, and this might sound a little manipulative, but it's one of the best things to do. One, you really do want to give them a chance. It's better if they cop to it, and I'm giving you that chance. Two, if you open it up that way, you might discover more than you actually even know. So I'm going to give you a chance. And if they don't disclose anything, then you have two pieces of information. You have the information that you already have, which they're unwilling to disclose. And you have the certainty that they're willing to lie about it.
Right. They're unwilling to tell the truth.
You have those two things to work off of for making your decisions moving forward. So, yeah, but just really healthy communication skills, a soft approach, create some safety, be firm, be honest. Don't give up your truths and your boundaries. Don't sacrifice those over. Be consistent, trust yourself. Like all of those things are very important as you confront this, and still know that they still have the agency to lie to you or not. Like that you can't force stuff out.
Yeah. And I would just add another thing to that too, Brannon, for someone who's maybe in that spot of wondering, there's a kind of a typical process where they almost become obsessed with it and then they want to pursue it. And then they look everywhere. And if they find something, then they're devastated. And if they don't find something, they don't trust it anyway.
Right.
And so like learning to that, what you said earlier, Shayna, about trusting your gut, that's right at the core of this. And if you can get down into a gut kind of a place, a grounded place, then you can approach your partner. And if you want to help things go right, you can't control how it's going to end completely, but understand that it's pretty likely that behind your partner and whatever the secrets are that they're keeping, deep down is a deep fear that they're going to lose you.
Yeah.
And so if there's a way to be grounded enough to open the conversation in a way that's not over-promising, saying, I'm not going anywhere, but I need you to tell me the truth, but is also, hey, I suspect something's going on, and I imagine you're holding on to a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of fear. I just want to acknowledge that might be there for you, but we got to get the truth out if we're going to have a chance at making this work.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
That is so, I don't know if masterful is the right word, but I often talk to my clients about communicating in ways that create more connection rather than less connection, or bring someone into more intimacy rather than pushing someone away. And I just imagine that is one of the hardest, if not the hardest moment to do that.
You want to go push them away.
You want to go shove them off a cliff, right?
Yeah.
You're flooded. You can hardly think straight yourself. And so it's hard to not just have reaction come out. But if you can take the time to get grounded and then go and step in, you have a better chance of getting things to go right, even though you still can't guarantee it.
What do people actually need to find the ground or the strength to be able to approach this?
I actually love that question, because there's so many people that know something's going on.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's not coming out is not because their partner isn't disclosing. It's because they don't want their partner to disclose.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So to first like really stop and notice the resentment, notice the pain, notice the heartache that you have, and ask yourself if this is how you want to live.
Uh-huh.
Right. And the pathway out of hell is often through misery. But instead of dealing with the misery, we stay stuck in hell.
Yeah.
So let's look at that misery. Okay. Facing this, confronting my partner, dealing with this. How do I get the grounding to do that?
Yeah.
I'm going to rely on support. I'm going to reach out to therapists like us, or support or help. And they'll walk me through, how do I do this effectively? And, but I'm going to do this. It's scary. It's a threshold. It takes courage.
Yeah.
So
I'll add a couple of things to what you said, Brannon, that a good education for people who are in the dark can be really, really powerful and helpful, and it can be painful too.
Yeah.
But getting good education is something that's really, really important. Getting a good team, as I mentioned early, is really, really important. And especially when they're fresh, there needs to be hope. And this is hard to do because there needs to be hope with reality as well. So it's helping them come to an understanding that there will be a bitter process that they will probably be working through that
Yeah.
has no guarantees as to whether or not the relationship saves itself or not at the end.
Yeah.
But what they will end with, if they work the process, is a life of confidence, freedom, power, peace, which is entirely possible if you start to work those principles.
Yeah.
And so you're playing with house money in a certain sense if you put the relationship as the frosting, but your life, owning a life of peace, power, freedom, joy, you have control over that no matter what. But it's going to come through a painful process.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you both said. I mean, because again, one of you used the word excruciating before, right? It's like, this is such an excruciating time. And right, I know we can't be glib about it and say, okay, once you get to the other side, you're going to be grateful this happened. We don't know if that's even the case. But what you just said about finding that place within yourself, finding your peace, your confidence. And you also said, I think, Brannon, you said this, right? That question of, is this how I want to live? Because yes, you're going to go through misery in this process, but you're likely already in a state of
hell.
misery.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. We're almost at the end of time, and I feel like we're just slicing or just at the surface. But what else do you want people to know before we wrap up? And then you can tell them where to find you, because I do think this is one of those times where I do not suggest doing this alone.
Yeah.
I'll start, Brannon, and I'll just say this. This is probably not a practical tool or anything, but I'm a father of 4 daughters, and I want my daughters to marry partners who live with honesty and integrity, who show up with presence, who are able to show empathy. And the pathway to healing and recovery, if you find yourself in this place, yields those fruits. And so I would welcome my daughters to marry any single person that is in recovery, because they will be living with those principles. And so there's hope here. There's possibility. This isn't pure devastation. It's not hell forever. There's actually a lot of hope here.
Thank you.
Just to piggyback off of that, I'd say, like, Tyler and I, we get to witness something that I think a lot of people don't get to witness. And we get to see a big part of the most intense process of the healing happen. And so, like, I just met with somebody last week who their whole life blew up the day before.
Wow.
And they're in this place of, like, I don't know if my family's going to stay together. How do we tell our kids? Like, what? Just a state of crisis. It's a whole different form of grief. It's devastating in so many levels. And meeting with somebody like them with the knowledge and wisdom that I have because of what I witness, I know that there's a pathway for them. Like, I know that healing is actually possible for both individuals in that situation. Now, I also know that they're going to have to choose into that. They're going to have to be humble, be open, be willing to actually do that work. But it's beautiful when somebody starts to come free from the pain, from whether it's the addiction or the betrayal pain of that. And it's beautiful. The healing process is amazing to watch. And Tyler and I have some mastermind groups and people who have been through the whole process, and they're the most authentic, free, at peace, just happily attached people that you'll ever meet. And they started where somebody who may be listening today is right now. That's where they were. So there is hope. Healing is real. So
it's interesting, Shana, that you're pretty open with some of your story too, and I mean, just visiting with you and what you said, I think is so true. That you've been through some real hell in your life, and now you're looking back at it with eyes of gratitude because of the growth that you've had, and I think you've experienced some of the same things that we're talking about here. So
yeah, it's so true. And again, you can't. It's hard in that moment when someone is in a crisis. I mean, I remember crying every day for, I don't know if it was 6 months, a year, whatever it was, right? And then the anniversaries of the moments and the birthdays and the holiday. It's like, right, there's so many things. It's almost hard to look back and actually feel them at this point. But when I do, I'm like, whoa, right, that was intense and painful. And yet where we are now is so different from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for being here and for doing this deep, deep, beautiful work that you do with people. I imagine, it takes a lot of strength to be able to hold people through this and to have that hope, when people are in crisis. So thank you for holding that.
You're
and
welcome.
Where can people find you?
The best way for this particular podcast is to go to therapybrothers.org/practicing love. And that'll give you some specific things for this particular podcast. Otherwise, you can go to reclaimyourheart.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you joined us for today's episode of Practicing Love. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and gained insight into yourself and your current and past relationships and inspiration for what's possible. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful for you to subscribe and write a quick review to help people find us. If you'd like more support in your love life, be sure to get your free copy of my best-selling book, Honest Sex, at shanajamescoaching.com/free. That's shanajamescoaching.com/free. And we'll see you next time.